Hello everyone, this is Prem Kumar and welcome to this new lecture. We are going to see how to use the OpenID Connect using the Azure Entra. First, what is this OpenID Connect? OpenID is a modern standard of authentication which uses the OAuth 2.0. So OpenID Connect is built over this OAuth 2.0 and OAuth mostly on this authorization side. I know it also a little bit provides the authentication, but OpenID Connect is purely based on the authentication. And OpenID Connect is definitely getting used at different places, and from my blog, I also have a OpenID Connect post where I connect to Google as the identity provider. But in this lecture, I'm going to try it in a different way. I'm going to use the same Microsoft Entra ID as the identity provider for this OpenID Connect. Okay, let's quickly see the flow of this OpenID Connect. I'm going to use the Microsoft identity platform, the Entra ID, and how things are going to work is, let's say the browser connects to the web server as the very first check. Like just like you hit an URL, the authentication service URL, web server is just going to redirect by asking the user to enter the login credentials, same like the SAML flow. So here the user is going to provide some consent here, providing the login credentials to use the OAuth flow. We call here like a consent given. And once the IDP receives the consent, it gives back a token. It can be called as JWT token, JSON Web Token, which will be given back to the browser, and browser redirects it to the redirect URI. There will be a server URL where it will redirect with the JSON Web Token. Now, the JSON Web Token will be parsed, will be identified, the key ID will be matched, then the necessary information will be provided to the browser. So that is how the server is going to respond. The server will expect a token, a JWT token coming from the identity provider. So the user should validate against the identity provider. So this is a very common, simple example. Let's check how we can do it, and we are going to do it from the App Studio. Let's get started. So as a first step, I'm into the App Studio, and to create any kind of authentication service from the App Studio, you have to go to User, Authentication, and from here you can add authentication service in a low code way. Let's do that. And here you have only few options. When you try to create, you have Google, you can use OIDC flow or SAML 2. So the previous lecture, you can also achieve it using the SAML 2 point from App Studio. We'll do the OIDC OpenID Connect, and I'm going to call it as again Azure OpenID. So this will be my URL as well, Azure OpenID. Now you can import the metadata. Now the question is, how do you get the metadata? Like for the SAML, we were able to upload it from a file, but here you can do it from a URL. Let's go to the Entra ID, and instead of going to the enterprise application, so enterprise application is the place where we configured the SSO, right? Don't go there. Go for the app registration, because by default, when you create an enterprise application, you also get an app registered for it. Go there. And here you have these endpoints, right? Click on the endpoints. You will get a lot of endpoints for these application specific. So you have OAuth 2.0 token endpoint, authorization, everything you will find it here. We'll also use this in the next module when we talk about OAuth. But for now, you will use this one, OpenID Connect Metadata Account. Let's use this. So this will be the standard one. If you use Microsoft, you will have this, and then this will be the tenant ID, the Entra ID, and then this will be always be a constant one, dot well-known OpenID configuration. Okay, let's copy this and then simply put it here, do a submit. Everything will be automatically pre-populated. You will not see it here, but if you go to Dev Studio, you will find it out. But the interesting thing is it also created a signature trust store, because JSON Web Token will be signed. So it will have some key ID which will be signing, like public certificate, which will be signing the JSON Web Token. So you need to have it into our own trust store. So this is the trust store location, but we will see how this also referenced. Now the client ID and client secret. Okay, to do this, you have a client ID. Of course, the application, every app registration will have the application ID as the client ID, but you can also create a client secret. So let's quickly create one. Maybe I'll put it like OpenID add, and I'm going to copy. Okay, now let's go here. Client secret is this client ID. Let's go to the overview. Let's go here. Client ID. Okay. Map operator ID from the client. So what claim we will use is we'll use the email claim. I'll also show you what are the different claims you will get. You will get it from the JSON web token you can clearly identify. But for now, just put this configuration. And if you want to do the operator provisioning on the fly, you can very well use this option. And here you only have the access role. You don't have any kind of operator. But let's keep it like this, like only the authors will be automatically provisioned. And this you need to configure into your IDP. So that will end the configuration. So let's do this configuration into the IDP. Just copy it, go back to the application, and where you have to configure the redirect URI for your app registration is go to the authentication, and under the authentication you have this redirect URIs, right? So this is the one which we used for the SSO, and here I'm going to use the redirect URI. I just changed the ngrok. So ngrok by default I don't have a paid version, so the URL keep changing. So I'm going to use this URL. So that's why you find a different URL here. Don't worry about that. Just do a save. That's it. Very, very simple configurations. Let's do a submit. So this is now created, and you can also get a login URL from here. Okay, let's copy this login URL. And first, let's quickly try it out if it works or not. Now let's go. I already deleted this operator, so this should be created new. Okay, so we got some exceptions. So we have to find it out. Now let's go to the Dev Studio and analyze all the configurations. So these are the configuration default field, and this is how we imported the metadata. We gave the URL, so everything is pre-filled. The endpoint, authorization endpoint, the token, OAuth token endpoint, the user info endpoint. It uses the Graph API, and redirect URI is the one which we already configured. We have the ID token processing. At least from the error, I can see something like parsing the ID token. So somewhere this went wrong. So okay. So we have the issuer. This is also pre-filled, automatically pre-filled, and we have a trust store. And trust store here, we didn't upload it using reference to file, but it reference to URL. So it means definitely this should be accessible over the internet. So the keys, yeah, it's easily accessible over the internet. That is fine. Now let's go back here. And client ID, client secret, by default, the OpenID, profile, and email scope were all added. And operator ID, it uses email. And then remember this, we just used only the access group, right? So it used the default data transform, as you can find here. And then in the mapping, it automatically populated the my access group to MKT airline as the default access group. So we have to populate all the other details. So this is how you can use the data transform, but I think you can map all the different attributes and create it on your own. So this will set the default access group. We will not use the hard coding part, but we are going to stick with this one. Okay, so these are all necessary, but still it failed. It didn't work. So we have to figure it out. So let's start with debugging from the log files. So I can see here from the log, unable to retrieve the JWK public key. So this is something which is not right, because we have a key which is signed by a JWK public key, and that key should be accessible from here, right? This is the URL which we hit. We have a lot of keys. So definitely this should be parsable. But why can't we have that key here? We have to check this out. Okay, the interesting thing is you can always try to parse your JSON web token easily in the online. To enable this or get the JSON web token, what you have to do is you have to go to your admin studio and then go to your log categories and make sure you create a new log category for OIDC. I already created one. Let me open it quickly. So all you have to do is you have to enable this logger, OIDC client handler. So if you want to create one, just quickly create it, and also make sure you change the log level to debug so that you can get the JSON web token printed. Okay, now let's repeat the next step. Let me go back to the URL. My URL. Okay, same error. Now, if you go to the logs, you should see the token getting printed. You see, this is the token. So we received the token perfectly. So let's get the token details. So at least the IDP connector for sure. IDP configuration should be fine. Let's go here and then let's check the values. Okay. So you have the key ID here. You have the JSON, and I already see email. That is correctly done. So a property can be created if everything goes well. Group is also there. So this is the one, cabin crew. So I can use this for post processing. I have the name, other details which are necessary. But the thing is, why this is saying the error like unable to retrieve the JWK public key. Okay, so this is very, very strange. We have to figure it out. So let me check if this key is available. Okay, the key is not available. So what it exactly meant here is you have a JWT token and the key ID is like this is the one. It means like this key is generated with this public ID. Okay, so you have the key ID and the issuer is exactly the right issuer. But if you try to get the keys, what you get here is you don't have the key ID available in the list of key. Of course, then it cannot verify the signature because it needs to have the public keys defined here. Okay, so we have to figure that out. This is the page which says troubleshoot access token signature validation. And okay, in our scenario, this is exactly our scenario. The application is enabled for SAML SSO. Assume that the access token instead of signing key used to sign token is the SAML signing certificate. Okay, so it's going to use the SAML signing certificate. Okay, that's why we have the KID ID is not listed. We don't recommend. Don't use OAuth2 and SAML for the same application. Keep the enterprise application different. Keep the OAuth different. Or this OpenID Connect different. So to resolve this issue, keep your application separate. Okay, I can do it. And then create a new app registration. Convert the enterprise application to OAuth only. You can also do any one of the thing. Either I can create a new application or I can say I can disable the SAML SSO. That will also work. Or you have to specify it like $app ID equal to application ID. Okay, let's try this one. Let me check if I can get the discoverable key as app ID equal to application ID. Let's check the application ID for this one. And the application ID ends with SQ. This is exactly the same one. So it means what we should be ideally doing is we should be using the metadata, the complete metadata URL should also include the app ID. So I can definitely do that to accommodate both the SAML as well as the OpenID Connect. Or you have other options as well, but I'm going to change this to use this app ID. I'm going to use this into the OpenID configuration, the URL. So let me change this one. So importing metadata, I'm going to completely change the metadata, OpenID configuration and a question mark. Submit. Let's see if we get a new thing got created. Let me check. It get refreshed. Yeah. So this got refreshed now. So the key store URL is now referencing to app ID. Okay. So this is fine. This is only applicable when you have SAML and OpenID for the same app registration, but most of the production situation, you may not have it. So you will definitely not face this issue. But if you face this issue, you know now how to debug. Check the logs, add the debugger, use the JWT IO to parse it, check the issuer, check the public key, key IDs, and that can really help you with the debugging purpose. Okay, now this is enough. The issuer should always be the same thing, and the key only it's different. So this is all fine. Now let's give a try. I hope it works this time. If not, I'm going to spend some more time. Hope not. Let's try App Studio. We don't get any error. So that is a success. And let's go to the Dev Studio and let's look at the operator configuration. The operator ID and full name is the email ID. Only one access group. Organization, division, unit is exactly pointed. So if you go back to the authentication service, you will find the exact configurations here. The mapping we just did only the organization, division, unit and the access group. Now it is up to you to improve the mapping, and then you can also use post-processing activity to enrich some data. Okay, I will end this lecture here. I hope you got some new way of using OIDC. In the MDC application into the Pega Academy site, they will also have something to connect with Okta. But at the end, more or less, everything will look like the same thing. Okay, there is one more authentication service which we will see in the next lecture. It's going to be anonymous authentication service. See you in the next lecture.